Joining us now is OjyOkpe. I tried. Those stories.
You did well. You know you're my favorite Danja wife. You did very well.
I saved all my energy for it. Dr. Abasi should
I saw you were
back,
calm.
please.
I was like, oh, is she going to be able to get what you did well?
Come back.
I would have to say, you and Ayo held the showdown. Aaron.
It's good to be here.
I am so excited to have you here on the show.
What's Trending debut, I must
This
say.
is your What's Trending debut.
Yeah.
But guess what? Aaron Akerejola, we started the morning show many years ago, and Aaron used to host the segment of What's Trending to our viewers. Yes, he used to do that. Yes. Well, welcome. Our sports. But Aaron is so versatile. He knows. I remember when I used to host the morning show, I'd call Aaron when I'd lose a guest. And I'd say, Aaron, I need to talk about lipstick. Can you help me out? Sure. He can talk about anything. Lipstick to, the economy to, of course, his favorite segment, sports. Welcome, Aaron Akerejola. Yeah. Well, let's do this. We're missing Dr. Abati Rufai. We hope next week we'll have them back on the show.
With implications.
Of course.
They have all gone.
Talking about implications, it was Kike Lomo's birthday yesterday, Dr. Abati's wife. Happy birthday to her. I saw beautiful pictures trending on social media. Well, all right. Well, let's begin what's trending on a lighter note this Friday, as many women across the globe shared survival stories to mark Breast Cancer Day, as testament that the disease is no longer a death sentence due to early detection. A medical doctor in a now viral video has proffered solutions on how men can avoid prostate cancer. Dr. Rasheed Abasi suggested in a radio interview that men are biologically wired to be polygamous and must engage in frequent sexual activities to avoid an enlarged prostate. Well, let's take a look before we come back for a discussion.
I believe as a medical practitioner that men are biologically wired to be polygamists. If I'm having erectile dysfunction, if you give me an alternate woman, a woman who is new to me and our pheromones click, my ED will disappear temporarily.
Really?
Absolutely. And that's why men come to the clinic now and say, Doc, when I'm with my wife, this thing doesn't work. But when I go to my side chick, it wakes up. I just laugh because that's a scientifically proven fact. They don't need any medication. Men with more than one wife tends to live longer. Don't take my word for it. The research is abundantly clear. Go on Google. Men with 2-3 wives tend to live an average of 7.5 years longer than men with one man, one woman. One man, one woman, that man's sexual activity is going to decrease after the age of 50. So when a man is not happy in the bedroom, his productivity is affected. When that productivity is affected, the impact on the economy dwindles. So even the government will not get adequate taxes. You're talking about these great entrepreneurs. If they're not happy at home, they may spend more time at work, that their productivity goes down, and their unit at home is affected because they know they're not going to get any performance. Men that are not getting enough erection, enough ejaculation a month will develop enlarged prostate. When they develop enlarged prostate, that's when bad things happen. And it affects the quality of their life. In the past 1 year, Dr. Ken, the Secretary of Defense in the U.S. has gone for prostate surgery. Martin Luther King's son died of prostate problem. We're losing quality men. And this day and age, we should not be.
It shouldn't be.
Because prostate cancer is one of the slowest growing. And one of the ways we can reverse it is sexual activity. What I say is what the left hand does, don't let the right hand know. You are not going to bring your other woman to your marital home. You want to have your other woman on a contract. You call her, she doesn't call you. She doesn't disrespect your home. So your woman is still your anchor. But you know why you're doing it, and your woman is on your side. She realizes that you must get your 21 times. And if for some reason she's not able to get it for you, hey, she knows where you are.
Aaron Akerejola, and now you know why I wanted you to be on the set with me, because I needed a version from a man. I mean, he is saying men are biologically polygamous. I mean, he made some valid points about how we used to be in those days. I mean, he says did he say his father married 20 women or 20 wives? What are your thoughts on this actual conversation yet?
First of all, let me just say this. I think I'm ashamed of the man.
Are you really?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
No, because if you want to engage in multiple women as partners in your life, it's a personal choice. To try to bring in empirical evidence into that is shameful. Now, let me tell you this.
Okay.
Because as you were saying that, the first thing that just came to my mind was, I was trying to cast my mind back. of course, probably in the university, decades ago, I read a book, Think and Grow Rich, one of the most popular books out there. And Napoleon Hill went on to say, if you want to be rich, now this is a man that has been great, and Think and Grow Rich has made more millionaires than any book that I know of. It's actually the holy grail when it comes to moving from nothing to something.
Yeah.
And he spoke about something called, let me see, in his own word, mystery of sex transmutation. And talks about when you're probably feeling the urge, you have a burning desire.
Yeah.
Probably you will need to use the law of substitution. Maybe move your mind from one thing to the other. Now when you do that and you do that continuously, over time, it's the easiest and the fastest way to become rich. So for a doctor to say the reason why that if you do not perform sexually, that it will affect the economy and
21 times he said actually.
That's
sex.
That's complete rubbish.
Yeah.
Because the man himself, Napoleon Hill, claims that the opposite of that is how to get rich. So I don't know where it's coming from. So empirically, so if he says that, and he meant to say several things that were empirical, I don't think they're all empirical.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No.
All right. Vimbai, I mean, this actual conversation, I mean, it's not the first time we're hearing this particular doctor, talk about this. I believe when he came out to talk about, you have to have sex 21 times, other doctors debunked it, and you can actually read up about it. But it was, for me, the look on the radio host, who's Dr. Ken, the look on his face when he kept on talking about...
But he was nodding.
Well, I mean...
He was assenting to several things that you were saying.
I think, this was edited, but he was, challenging him and saying, these are the conversations we've had before. It's not the first time we're hearing you say this was challenged before. But side chicks and many women, I mean, that actual last sentence he made about women, having to know their place and allowing their husbands cheat. What are your thoughts on that?
First of all, in this economy, first of all, I don't know if this economy is conducive for all that. Yes. So I don't know any wife right now who, whether it's in the interest of health, in the interest of anything, who's now going to start supporting that her household maintenance budget should now be cut so that Oga can go outside and take care of his prostate. No, I don't foresee that happening. But also, I don't know why this man assumes that wives and women, partners, are not prepared to fulfill the quota. Yeah. Why does he just, because I don't know why men make these assumptions that wives don't enjoy having sex with their husbands. Yeah. Why not propose a solution and say, go and meet your wife. Let your wife know that we need to do this 21 times, doctor's orders, and see what happens from there, So I think and get creative with it. Yeah. I know they say, I know it's daytime hours, but they say, intimacy begins in the morning. Yeah. And it begins with how we interact with each other, with sweet things, and this throughout the day. They don't say intimacy starts at the moment that you feel the urge, It starts from the morning. So for me, I can't possibly promote, side chickism and all of that. I sincerely cannot. Yeah. But I also just feel that in this economy, if you're going down this road, be ready for the consequences.
Be ready for the consequences.
It's very expensive.
It's
very expensive.
So Aaron, you're advising men, no side chicks. It's too expensive for that type of behavior.
You must be super rich to be having probably 10 or 21 side chicks, as probably is proposing, or having that much action in the bedroom.
All right.
Trust me, it's expensive.
Very expensive. Well, all right. Well said, both of you. I thought it was great to balance the subject. Well, talking about the economy, in the meantime, the federal government on Thursday said that 25 million Nigerians have already received the 25,000 Naira conditional cash transfer to cushion the effect of the removal of subsidies and other policy reforms being implemented by the government. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, disclosed this while briefing State House Correspondents shortly after the National Economic Council meeting chaired by Vice President Kashim Shettima.
And of course, we know, and I reported, that in terms of the direct benefit and direct help to the general public, of course, there was wage award at first, now there's the new minimum wage. There is direct transfers to the people on the social register that has been put together by all levels of government and is being verified. And so people are paid after they have been uniquely identified biometrically, and they are paid digitally through a bank account or mobile wallet. And those payments have been rolled out. We have reached 5 million households, 25 million Nigerians, and first and second payments are being made.
All right, let me take some reactions. Of course, you know Nigerians will react to this because where's the money? This is from Uche, who wrote, 25 million Nigerians. When did this happen? I haven't heard anyone say that he or she received such money, not from my maternal home, not from my hometown, not from my family or friend. I haven't seen or heard from a bus or taxi driver. When will this fooling stop? Another Twitter user, PG Holmes, wrote, more than 625 billion naira. This could be used for light, road, water, fuel reduction, factories. The problem is not resources. It is spending. I thought that was quite apt. And we always talk about the fact that, you know, Nigeria should move away from the palliative economy. But he talked about the fact that, you know, there was a social register and, you know, it was digitally transferred. Now that Nigerians have heard you, Mr. Wale Edun, it would be nice to actually publish that sort of register state by state so we can know the individuals that have received these funds. Aaron.
My first thought about that, I've always been against that because if you read the Venezuelan story, part of the things that brought Venezuela to her knees was the fact that they felt that social programs like this were the way out. It garners popular interest with people if they really get the money. But what it does is it impoverishes society because what the people need is not to be given fish, but more or less given the opportunity to go out there and fish for themselves.
Yeah.
When you look at the Industrial Revolution, when you look at the Industrial Revolution in the US, it all started by people or by the government creating an enabling environment. And the men like the John D. Rockefellers of this world and the rest of them, Carnegies and the rest of them, went out there and created wealth for themselves and for the people. And that is how you grow a country, not by doing this. Because the question is this. I went to an eatery yesterday and a man came to buy just a little portion of food for himself and some of his staff. He ended up spending 88,000 naira.
Come on.
And this is not high end now. Just probably just your basics, rice, probably chicken and the rest of them. And it got me thinking. So, and he said that this is almost like a bag of rice. I said no. A bag of rice is 98,000.
Is it 100,000 in some places?
So,
now?
okay.
Yeah.
So I said, so this is even less than a bag of rice. And he said, oh, Tinubu economy, and we just laughed about it. But that just points to one fact, that it stands right now. What can 25,000 naira get you in Nigeria?
What really?
If you can get by with it for 1 day, or maybe 2 days, 1 week, this conditional transfer, how long will it happen? Is it consistent? Would it last for a year? Would it last for 2 years? But when you put all that together and you actually help the economy, make sure that there's a buffer, there's a soft landing for people, trust me, it will go longer, it will go further, and the impact will be far-reaching. They need to help people. Just take all that and just plunge it into ease of doing business in Nigeria, and the small and medium scale enterprises will just skyrocket overnight.
Well said, the Baron. Vimba, in the same vein though, the senator representing Edo North Senatorial District, Oshiomhole, during a recent event in Abuja, said that the current generation of workers in the country are much poorer than those in the past. According to him, the celebrated 70,000 naira minimum wage, when converted to dollars, is equivalent to $42. He went further to compare the first minimum wage in the country under President Shehu Shagari, saying that the 125 naira minimum wage at that time was equivalent to $160. I always commend Oshiomhole. He's in the APC government. It's not like he's speaking for Nigerians. And like, Aaron said, what can 25,000 naira bring? What can 70,000 naira bring? I think Oshiomhole hit the nail on the head. A quick point before we go to this.
Well, this is sort of, after the fact,
Yes.
because we saw how long and drawn out and arduous it was for a new minimum wage to be passed. When NLC brought certain, first I believe it started at 600,000, it came down to 200,000, and everybody laughed them out of the room when they were coming up with those numbers because they said nobody can afford to pay it. But it almost seems like they have been vindicated because remember, they keep reiterating the deal was that the president was supposed to ensure that petrol price doesn't go up.
Yeah.
Well, petrol price continues to rise freely, and we're told it's now deregulated, so it's going to continue increasing. In fact, it hasn't even stabilized at its true price, is what they're saying. So, I mean, this advocacy is nice to hear from the senator, but when the conversation really mattered is when this speech should have been given.
But, we are talking about the economy and the minimum wage. Some governors, I believe Lagos State had, put in some money. I believe only recently Kaduna State governor increased it to about 72,000 naira. I mean, the states also should have to make some sort of impact in the new minimum wage as well for their residents. Well, an old video showing the newly designated Minister for Industry and Trade, Dr. Oshiomhole Oduwole, who was the former SA on the ease of doing business in the office of former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, talking about how Nigerians can cumulatively move the nation forward, has resurfaced online. Let's take a look.
Nigerians are quick to say somebody else is corrupt, everybody else should change, and everybody else should make a change, preferring solutions on what should be done. It's a standard thing. Even when people are not being negative, they're always talking about what other people should be doing to save Nigeria. But who built the United States? Who built Singapore? Who built Japan? Who built the countries of Europe? It's only indigents. And like you said, it's about participation. When people come to me or to my boss to discuss things, 98% of people are asking for things that pertain to themselves. Very few people have a heart for change and for the country. Very few people have the mind to understand the issues and to go deep into analyzing systemic change that may or may not favor them, but will favor the country and the poor. There are people with character, with competence, and with capability. Is that all you need to govern well? No. You need courage, because it's a battle for the soul of the nation. And the people that are in the battle, they're there for do or die. The government can't do it alone. The vice president cannot do it alone. The president cannot do it alone. Those in power, apart from the fact that there's a need for a lot of courage, a lot of competence, a lot of capabilities, the few people that really want to see this country change are too few. We are too few. We can't do it. Everybody sits and points a finger on who should do it. Someone else should go and do it. But every single body needs to get up and fight for the soul of our country, or we will never, we're just joking and talking. Unless you take action, we will never change.
Very, very strong sentence there, statement and speech from Dr. Oshiomhole. I'd like to congratulate her again on her appointment. I mean, I think she made very valid points there in her speech.
If you know Dr. Oduwole, I know her personally. And she not only just talks the talk, she walks the walk. This is a woman that's seasoned, she's a lawyer, by the way, and seasoned lawyer, and that has gone on to do business. And not only that, she's helped encourage and mentor the next generation. That's how I mentor. And I was one of those people she mentored back in the day. And we've always kept tabs up until, we said, I sent her congratulations. And I must tell you that all through, she has shone through. She's molded in the ilk of the Okonjo-Iwealas of this world, the Ngozi Ezekwesilis of this world, the Dora Akuyinyelis of this world.
Fantastic.
Very forthright, very straightforward, someone that you cannot find a speck on her. That's the kind of woman she is. So saying this, well, I remember when this actually came out, it was trending. Saying this over the years, looking back right now, I can tell you that she has embodied what she has said, and she has lived it, and she's still living it true.
Absolutely.
Kudos to her.
Kudos to her. Kudos to her. And again, congratulations. We all need to come together to move the nation forward, and it needs courage. Well, all right. In another development, the House of Representatives has urged the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development to suspend issuing airstrip licenses to private individuals and organizations, including the withdrawal of existing approvals, while the directives specifically targets licenses granted to the Living Faith Church and others, with lawmakers citing concerns over national security. The decision follows the adoption of an urgent motion presented by Sulaiman Abubakar Gumi, who referenced the recent announcement by the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, confirming an airstrip license for Living Faith Church's Canaan land site in Ogun State. You weren't here. I'm coming to you, church lady. You were
church lady.
Church, yeah, because I know that you're an avid worshiper in church, and this concerns the Canaan land. And remember, we took the story when the minister had approved that airstrip. I don't know what your thoughts are about the withdrawal of that airstrip, and what your thoughts are of even having an airstrip in church.
You know what? For me, it's the precedent. So I don't think it matters whether it's a church or what nature the organization is or who the private individual is involved. It's the precedent, because once you now give it to this church, other organizations are going to start applying.
Yes.
Before you know it, you're going to have wealthy and high net worth individuals will start applying. Before you know it, you have Yahoo boys applying. Everybody will have an airstrip up and down because at the end of the day, it's precedent. Once you allow one person, you're going to have to allow more people. So for me, it's not really about the church. It's about the fact that we're going to end up with a situation where everybody has airstrips. There are some who are going to use them diligently for good.
This is very peculiar. This is very peculiar because before the Jonathan, during the Jonathan, at the end of the Jonathan administration, quickly, this license was actually approved.
Okay.
As soon as the Buhari government came in, some said politics, some said religion, and they actually cancelled it. So now that the Tinubu government has actually come, he has now approved it. So for people that live in that axis, let me say this: for people that live in that axis, it was supposed to be a breath of fresh air because the Jonathan administration insisted that they would have to do the road from the airstrip into the town. As we speak, some of those roads have not still been done.
Okay.
If they had probably approved it and let it go, people in that particular axis will be enjoying good roads.
All right.
So it takes an airstrip to get roads.
Now, down to the state government that has refused.
All right.
Up until now, or they've been slow about it.
All right.
Who knows?
We'll continue on the conversation. Well, let's take our final story now under entertainment. Following up on Nigeria's Miss Universe contestant, Chidimma Adeshina, who arrived Mexico on Tuesday to represent Nigeria at this year's global competition in November. Well, in the wake of the decision by South African authorities to revoke Chidimma's identity and travel documents, a South African group known as the Progressive Forces on Thursday launched a petition to prevent Chidimma from competing in the Miss Universe 2024 pageant. The group argued that her involvement in the contest could jeopardize the integrity of the Miss Universe brand. The petition, which was initiated on Wednesday, has since recorded over 1,000 signatures. Vimbai, when you sent me this story yesterday, my heart flipped. What do they want from this woman, really? What do they want from her? She's absolutely going to go in and fulfill her her place at the Miss Universe competition.
This has now become a witch hunt. This is now just unfair.
This
is, I mean, let the girl, yes, she doesn't have your passport, she doesn't have your ID anymore. Can she breathe?
Can she breathe?
So, I think this is going too far, and I wish her all the best. I hope the organization, ignores this petition, and I wish her all the best.
Yes.
Let's just let her move on. This can't define her for the rest of her life.
No, the truth is, these are the kind of stories, usually when they want to probably crown a beauty queen, they like people with depth and and backstories.
But my producer, we have the voting for Chidimma. If you can pull up that voting link. What's that voting link again, if you can tell me? But you can go ahead. Miss Universe up right there. You can go ahead and support our Nigerian Miss Universe. Really, please go ahead and vote for her. Well, I'd like to thank you both. Aaron, thank you very much indeed, as always. A different edition on What's Trending. I hope you all have a great weekend. Thank you both indeed. Well, that's all I have for you guys on What's Trending today. I'll see you all next week.